folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys present Tales of the Trophies, the Big Ten's greatest rivalries. And boys, turn on Boyz II Men. End of the road, baby. College football season's wrapping up, and here we are with our last trophy of season one.
It's very, very bittersweet feeling here. You know, it's hard to believe we've been doing this for 17 weeks now. So it's like it's kind of a good thing to wrap it up, but also sad just because, yeah, this is the end of season one and college football is really almost done here.
Can't believe it. Great year. I mean, just a whirlwind of a season. You know, it always surprises me how fast the college football season goes by. Like I feel like just yesterday I was watching Ohio State and Minnesota kick us off, and now here we are, come to the end of the road.
Yeah,
I can't let go.
I mean,
it's so natural.
It's been and it's been a great college football season. I don't know that anybody, especially the way that the playoff has gone the last 3 or 4 years, you know, you have the same 3 out of 4 teams.
The usual suspects.
Right. And this year we finally got a shake up here, and it's been a very fun and exciting year.
A little bit of a shake up. Yeah. Just enough. Even though 2 of the teams are very consistent, it's just enough of a shake up that's like, okay, I'm into this. Like, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially, I mean, we can get into this a little bit later, but especially after a couple of these championship games, whatever preconceived notions we might have had going into this weekend, you know, I feel like you kind of have to take a step back, and maybe it isn't as clear cut as maybe we had all once thought it was.
Indeed. Well, at least with one of the games. With
with at least one of them, or at least just the tournament itself. Like, I feel like there's 3 teams that maybe have a real case here versus one, which we thought was the case weeks ago.
That's a rude thing to say about Georgia, but okay.
All right. So before we get into our championship weekend recap, why don't we talk about what we are drinking for the last time here? So Joe, why don't you let us know?
Okay, boys and girls. This men and women, probably more appropriate for the drink section. This week we were talking as a group, and we've pretty much run out of ideas. We got lazy. I got lazy, and we've got nothing. So I asked Mike, "What do you want to drink?" This week we have a Pennsylvania school featured in our trophy. So I asked Mike what he wanted to drink as his special week. So all he gave me was rye. So we're not drinking just straight rye. I found a drink that has zero connection to this rivalry, this trophy. We just went straight up rye for Mike. And
we were able to. EJ and I both have a Pennsylvania rye whiskey, so that's why we were able to pull from that. So
yeah, and mine, I have tin cup, so that doesn't really relate at all. So, so the drink we have is called Ward 8. Our Bostonian fan base, all couple hundred of you guys might be aware of this. It's 2 ounces rye, 1/2 ounce lemon juice, 1/2 ounce orange juice, 2 teaspoons of grenadine, and then you garnish with cherries, maraschino cherries. So it's supposed to be like a kind of a take on a whiskey sour, but kind of with natural ingredients instead of like a sour mix or an actual sour.
Lights.
Yeah. So in the actual recipe that I sent you guys, the drink is orange, pretty orange. It's like a neon almost. Mine here is like almost like a red. I think the grenadine took over a little bit, and I made it just how it said, the right amounts and everything. So we'll see how it tastes, but
all right,
should we try it out?
Let's do it. Cheers, boys.
Cheers to it. Definitely get the rye.
Yummy.
So this is interesting. So just kind of on theme here with procrastinating and not really coming up with a good idea. I realized I thought I had grenadine. I did not.
Let's. It's a good idea. It's
a good idea.
Well, it wasn't procrastination. It was there just wasn't
the juices.
Originally, I was going to try and go with a beer. I mentioned it to EJ.
Yeah,
I was thinking about going with like the Yingling Hershey's combo.
Yeah.
But we end up with this. Someone suggested rye, so here we are.
I'm not complaining.
No.
Yeah,
This
pretty good.
is good. So sorry, I didn't mean to belittle the effort here. I guess on my end here, especially with um, the sleep situation and being back to work.
You
This
talking
was
about sleeping naked?
Yes.
Mm.
I thought I had grenadine from a past cocktail when I had people over. I did not, so I had to improvise, and I have some Crystal Light packets that are fruit punch.
Nice. There you
So
go.
I mean, it's kind of
Flashback to the Kool-Aid week.
right, red sugar to add in here. So I don't know. I mean, ultimately, like you guys had mentioned, like it's very you have the lemon, you have the citrus, and then you have the rye. So I feel like, I don't know how much of the grenadine you're really going to pull out beside the color anyway, but mine tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
I can really, the rye is coming through. I think
Yeah.
just because of, I don't know, it's kind of light on everything else.
Mm.
Like it's only half ounce of orange juice, half ounce of lemon juice, not very much, and the grenadine's barely anything. So
See, I'm fine with that. Like I don't need like a lot of a lot of stuff messing with the taste of the whiskey itself.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I was surprised that the rye came through so much, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, Mike and I, we said that we have a Pennsylvania rye. I might as well shout out the distillery because it's one of my favorites. It's really awesome, and I recommend anyone take the tour, the paid tour kind of thing. But it's a Wiggle Whiskey, and it's in downtown Pittsburgh in the Strip District. It's really great. Wiggle. It's named after a guy that very few people realize that. Western Pennsylvania was kind of a boon for whiskey back in the day.
A boon. I like
yes.
that. I like that descriptor.
Yes, and it was very important. Washington, General Washington I think he was probably the president by then. You have the whole whiskey rebellion, which had a lot to do with Western PA and people being upset about the whiskey tax at the time. But it has a lot of rich history. Whiskey does in Western Pennsylvania. It's actually where Jim Beam started. And then once the Whiskey Rebellion kind of happened, a lot of that stuff moved down to Kentucky. But it's a very cool tour. Wiggle himself, I can't think of what his first name was a person. Yes. And he punched a tax collector in the face one time. And I think that's awesome. So I highly recommend you guys take that tour if you're ever in Pittsburgh.
Can you back up a second? I've never even heard of this, and I've been to Pittsburgh a ton. Is the distillery called Wiggle or just the actual?
Yes.
Okay. It's just called Wiggle.
Wiggle with one G. W-I-G.
Single G.
Huh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
right.
good. Huh. I recommend if you want to have a nice little Saturday, you go to Wiggle Whiskey and you take that tour, and then you head over to Penn Brewery and take that tour. And there's
you have to do it in that order because liquor before beer.
You're in the clear.
Yeah,
exactly. And there's another, it's like a Belgian brewery that popped up. I forget the name of it. It's escaping me right now. I don't think it's downtown. It's a little bit further out. But I think I'm gonna go there at some point over the next couple of weeks because it's supposed to be very good. I checked their food menu; it looks pretty good too. So there's a bunch of I want to try to. There's like a Pittsburgh sandwich food truck that I follow them on Instagram because their sandwiches always look so freaking good, and I need to try to track them down over the holidays.
What's the radius? They reach DC?
No, I wish, dude. No, I wish. Yeah, I'll share some of it. Do they get like a Nashville hot chicken sandwich? They got like a
maybe we could post it on our story.
Steak and chiz. Yeah, it looks. If I go there, if I track it down, I will definitely post it.
Yeah, let's do it.
But
okay, you guys ready to talk about championship weekend?
As ready as I'll ever be.
So this is it, guys. This is some of our final times to talk about this. So I just have this in order in which the games happened. Same as last week. So let's just start off with the Pac-12 championship, Oregon, Utah. Surprised the hell out of me. I really thought Oregon getting a second chance in a neutral site would be able to, exact revenge. And I mean, Utah just kind of has their number this year.
You got to wonder if Mario Cristobal's mind was across the country. If he was,
warmer weather,
forward to some warmer climates.
Yeah.
And I saw something playing on the internet that Brian Kelly has to be fuming when he saw Mario Cristobal in his press conference start speaking Spanish. He's like, because all Brian Kelly has is a shitty fake Southern accent.
My
and Mario Cristobal
family.
right.
Yeah, the
Whereas-
difference is
That's the best
like
one I've done.
authenticity. Cristobal's born and raised in Miami, went to Miami.
Right. He can.
I think, yeah, but I think Kelly said he stayed at a Holiday Inn Express that night.
Oh,
That's right.
okay.
That's right. He
Shout out
he has,
Holiday Inn Express.
he has been to Popeyes.
Yeah.
He got the
Yes, he
chicken
has.
tenders.
Yeah, this game surprised me. I lost money on it. Is there
Yeah.
anything that kind of stood out to you guys?
It was just history repeating itself, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like
My sports book
flashbacks.
stood out to me because there's nothing quite as defeating as setting up a parlay for the weekend and lose on Friday. So you just got to run
Great
that
start.
bad boy back. Yeah. I actually did hit on because I really thought Oregon was going to cover. So I redid a lot of those parlays and two of them hit without
Nice.
Oregon, obviously. So thanks to Michigan as one of those teams.
You learned your lesson last week.
No, I sure did.
Or 2 weeks
Actually,
ago.
I learned. I think I learned when they played Western Michigan and they were like favored by 20 and they covered. And I'm like, well, okay,
Well,
all right,
that one's tough. I mean, it's the first game, so it's like you don't know what to expect, really.
yeah. It must not have been Western Michigan. It must have been. It was like the third game.
Mm.
It was the second time they were favored by double digits, and Harbaugh historically did not have a good record.
I mean,
covering double digits.
yeah. Well, that and historically that, and then against ranked teams. So that's kind of this. Hopefully, this isn't an outlier as we go forward.
Yeah, right. Really.
Yeah, I did the same thing as you did, Mike, but unfortunately the next game, if we kind of just want to move on to that one, kind of set me 0-2. So I kind of was like, I'm not going to
Baylor.
reset any of these other parlays. And yes, the Big 12 championship, Oklahoma State, Baylor. I took Okie State. I thought Gundy and his new haircut was going to pull through. And that game was honestly terrible to watch. It was just turnover after turnover, both sides. Neither team really wanted to win. I will say it had one of the most memorable endings, but
Yeah.
it was a rough game to get through because neither team really wanted to pull away or to catch up.
See, for me, it was exciting because I spent the first part of that game cooking, and then I brought the food to
Yeah, you were at
Joe's
my house for
and then
the
to EJ's
beginning of the
house,
second half, I think.
and I saw that incredible interception as I was meeting your daughter, and that where it was tipped up
Yeah.
by the OK State receiver,
Yep.
and then tipped again. It went out the back of the Baylor player, and then the Baylor, I think, linebacker came over and
The Bear.
picked it off. Yeah, the Bear. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I thought it was, and then when I saw it at your house, EJ, was exciting too. I was like, this is a great game. So I'm
Well,
surprised that
the thing that got me is I think right when you were there, I dropped $25 on Baylor -8.5. They were crushing them. It was
Oh,
going
yeah.
into half. It was 21-3 or something. So I took them -8.5. Whole second half was OK State. Baylor didn't even score in the second half. Not even a field goal. So I ended up losing. I took Baylor and lost. You took OK State and lost. Like
I took
that game was
Baylor
tough.
money line pregame. So
Oh,
I
nice.
was a
At
big
least
winner.
somebody, one of us won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
held
was-
it down for the squad.
it was one of those games where you had they had talked about it the first time they played each other that Sanders, the quarterback for Oklahoma State, had a bad game, and I think he threw 2 or 3 picks in the first matchup, but Baylor only kicked field goals on those turnovers, and that's allowed Oklahoma State to win even though they had turnovers. And this game was just Groundhog's Day, but Baylor scored touchdowns in that first half,
Yeah.
and really distanced
Yeah,
themselves.
that quarterback looked great in the first half. In the second half, he was just missing.
Right. And then it's just Oklahoma. I don't know. I guess for me, if an opposing quarterback throws 4 interceptions, it probably shouldn't come down to the last play of the game.
Right.
Lamar Jackson.
Right. It's just, it was crazy. And then of course they had twice, Oklahoma State had 1st and goal and didn't get points. And ended up going 1st, 2nd, 3rd, then the 4th down play, just mano a mano, race to the pylon, dive.
Usually
kept-
those are easy runs in. Like you can't catch them.
Yeah.
But I give that corner or whatever it was credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the dive was a good dive, because then what ends up happening is sometimes like a knee comes down before the full extension. That dude fully extended and kept all body parts off. He just was literally an inch short. If he was an inch taller, he would have, that nose of that football hits the pylon and it's game over.
It was Friday Night Lights. It was the ending to Friday Night Lights. And it was just like, oh man, like that's unfathomable sadness right there. Like that's regret for I hate to say it. I'm gonna sound harsh. That's regret for the rest of your life. Like, you know how sometimes you're in the middle of the, like you're trying to fall asleep and then you think about something embarrassing that you did like 3 years ago that like really is not that big of a deal. Like you said, like,
it's not in front of the whole country.
Yeah, you said like U2, whatever the movie theater like ticket taker is like, enjoy your movie, and you're like U2, and then you think about that and you're like embarrassed. Like that guy has to think about that and just, yeah, I cost my team a shot at the playoff. I cost my team.
See, what I will say though, that can at least make him sleep better, and we can transition to the next game, is I don't think that would have mattered, unfortunately, for them anyway, because what they needed to happen was Georgia to win, and they sure didn't.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a chance, I think, that the committee would have been a tough spot if Oklahoma State had won, because you have to, then you're making a statement that the Big 12 is better than the American Athletic Conference, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't a hard thing to do. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that would have been a tough decision. And the committee is probably the happiest of everyone that touchdown didn't happen, because then they didn't have to make the hard decision. And, you know, yeah.
I think given what happened in the SEC championship, I think Okie State would have had to have beaten Baylor handily to justify moving them above Cincinnati, who was undefeated, ended up, and we can get to that too, you know, won pretty handily. I feel like it would have been, they really would have had to have beaten Baylor pretty convincingly. So I mean, obviously you would have still loved a Pac-12 championship, would have loved a better New Year's Six bowl, but yeah, just to soften it on the kid here. You know,
I will say, after Baylor money line hit, I went ahead and bet on Bama. I hadn't made my decision until that game ended, and
let's not forget these guys are making a bunch of money now, so I don't feel too bad for them.
That's true.
Yeah, like 3 kids out of each team. I don't think this.
I'm guessing that guy makes some money
in Stillwater. I don't know who's paying for NIL out in Stillwater.
Hey, listen, Bama's kicker,
Boone himself,
Barry Sanders,
podiatrist office. So there you
go. I think the only big name sponsor they have is whoever the stadium's named after. I remember looking that up one day. I don't know why, but I don't know if that dude's even alive. So I don't.
Or day at work.
Yeah. But all right, Georgia, Alabama. Basically, Alabama was like, okay, running the ball is a bad idea.
We're gonna play today.
So we're not going to run the ball, and we're going to use this amazing guy that also likes to target people named Jameson Williams. And that was
target people. How do you target people on offense?
He likes to do it on special teams.
Oh, he plays special teams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gunner, baby.
He's
but you know what? EJ, as much shit as you gave him for getting ejected for targeting, and why the hell do you have him this gunner? He made an incredible punt coverage play early on in that game against Georgia.
Yes, I'm not saying that kid's not talented, but the risk reward of
that's why you put him out there, baby.
No, I'm pretty sure they can find someone else that's
a
5-star kid.
I just read an article. He loves playing special teams.
Sure, he does.
Yeah, you know what else you get from him in special teams? If someone breaks, like going for a punt return or something, he's gonna DK Metcalf the guy, come back, chase him down 40 yards, and save a score.
I think it's very unnecessary.
Fast.
Yes. It's just an unnecessary
risk.
Fast
kid a lot.
Yeah.
But no, that game was man, I did not know who the hell I was looking at there, because that offensive line looked so much different than the offensive line that played against Auburn. I mean, they were having great pass protection. And it looked like a whole different team, like on offense. It really did. You know, defense, they did it, like Will Anderson balled out. You know, it was a great showing by the defense too, but that offensive line looked completely different.
Which is what they should have looked like, right? Isn't Neal like a top 3 pick? If there wasn't 2 pass rushers, he'd probably be the first overall pick at left tackle. Like, there's no lack of talent there. So I think
Yeah.
their struggles were a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah,
And
a
it's
little
just
self-infliction.
right. And then you look at this team and it's like that they put together the complete game that they should have done all year long. Right. And it's probably because Saban told them to have fun. This is scary times.
They did have fun.
He said after the game, he thanked the reporters for their rat poison.
I saw that.
Normally the rat poison you give us is fatal, but this rat poison was yummy.
What for? Like,
did Harbaugh give him that line?
Yeah, right.
For justly making them underdogs for the first time in 90 games. I mean, it's not like, I don't think it was like too crazy of a thing to say based on what we've seen this year. You might be an underdog.
Well, and now too, I wonder, if you're Georgia, right? Like, okay, you got Stetson Bennett. Do you go back to JT Daniel? Like, what were you doing? I don't think
he was the problem.
No.
I will say this. I think I told Mike this. I haven't watched a lot of Georgia games this year.
Same.
So besides that first game, and that was enough for me, how miserable that first game was with Clemson. And I will say, when I heard Stetson Bennett, I have never thought much about it. I just think of like a game manager and really haven't, because I don't know. Right? Yeah, he was a walk-on kid. He has an incredible story and how he's gotten to where he's at. But after watching him, he is way more talented than I thought. I expected like a statue that like just threw 5-yard passes like a Jared Goff. Maybe I'm just used to seeing that on Sundays. But he was
Mac Jones last night.
Yeah, he was athletic, fast, bigger than I thought he was. Could make throws. I know he made some mistakes and all, of course, but like, I don't know. I was actually more impressed with him. But again, it's not like I haven't watched a game at all. So I think you roll with him. I mean, I think I saw one JT Daniels game, and that's maybe what I'm thinking of. The little guy there that's just kind of like, okay.
Well, he played the Clemson game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So I don't know.
Started.
I liked Bennett more than I thought I would.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting if they do meet again. Big if.
Yeah, I know, since he's looking good.
Yeah, since he is looking good. Actually, they're dead. They're so dead in the water. Some kid from Cincinnati posted the TikTok of him stepping on an Alabama shirt at midfield at the Cincy field. Oh,
didn't go well for Ohio State.
No, that's a big mistake, my man. So.
Yeah, the other thing that I kind of took away from this, and I think Joe and I have been on the same page with this, Mike, you've been reluctant because it's your team and you're close to him, but like just the plays that Bryce Young makes. And again, it's not anything, he doesn't do Mahomes or Lamar type things. He doesn't try to do
too much.
He just, the way he can operate in one, he can make every throw. And then two, the way he can operate around a pocket without having to drop your eyes or put yourself, like get happy feet in the pocket. Like he sticks in it when he needs to, evades it when he needs to, and then he's fast enough on runs if he has to, which he doesn't do very often.
No,
but he's quick enough to do it.
He doesn't run very much. And I will say, like, I've been a little critical of Bryce Young this year, but he looked awesome in this game. He looked really, really stinking good.
He's gonna look great in Honolulu blue.
Yes, he will.
I hope so. I hope he does make it. Hey, you guys pass on Kenny Pickett. He comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's fine. No, there's zero chance because Kenny Pickett, and I was going to get to this later on, but I guess we can hit it quickly now. He needs to give the committee like the best gift basket. And I'm talking like Derek Jeter.
Hit up Jeter. Yeah.
Right. Ask gift basket, because what a way to end your career and get ready for the draft than to play the worst passing defense left in the top 10 in Michigan State.
I'm excited for that game.
He's going to throw 500 yards.
I think it's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be a hell of a fun game.
Oh, it's going to be a great game. I think it could be close, but I think he's going to have a day.
I also think that there's some fodder for State though as well, because I think he snuck into that Heisman slot and took it from Kenneth Walker. Sorry,
Kenny. Yeah, I mean,
you come to my house, you get my running back's name right.
Yeah,
Stay
I do think it'll be a good game. I think the Spartans have a chance. I think it's a good draw for both teams. I think they're probably pretty equally matched.
Are you
It's
going?
just it's actually funny because it's in Atlanta, and my mom lives in Georgia, and my in-laws are
Easy
from
drive.
Pittsburgh, and are Pitt
Mm.
fans. So it's crossed my mind. Don't know if
What's
it's gonna
when
happen,
is
but
it? Is it New Year's?
the 30th. It actually
Mhm.
is kind of nice.
Oh,
'cause
so we'll
it's
hit that, and then we'll keep going down to Miami for the 31st.
There you go. Because it's the only New Year's Six game. Obviously, it's not on New Year's, but on that day,
Eve.
so it gets prime time by itself that night. So
That'll be good. I'm very excited to see that because I want to see Pickett, and then I think Michigan State. I honestly think Kenneth Walker's gonna show up for that game because I would be pissed.
Can
Yeah.
we talk about Kenny Pickett's hezzy when he hit the hezzy on the slide?
There's got to be a rule change on that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he
Yup.
definitely took advantage of the rules.
Yup.
There. Yeah,
I like it though. I mean, do it while you can, but I don't think that's not gonna last.
yeah. I don't think so either. But man, it looked cool as hell.
I
when
didn't
he
see it
did
live. Did the defensive coordinator just go nuts?
I didn't.
didn't see it
I
live
was
either.
going nuts, so I didn't
Yeah.
see the defensive coordinator go.
Yeah,
nuts.
I mean, he's got to be in the refs here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Ryan Clark, the ex
Yeah.
Steelers safety,
Saw
tweeted
that.
today. He was just like, I'm gonna get targeting, like in that case, because now if
You
you're a
gotta.
safety, there's no way you can allow him the benefit of the doubt. Like he's
Mhm.
gonna get, I don't know if it's gonna be Michigan State that does it to him, but like I don't know. That's you're playing with fire when you have quarterbacks that do that. I feel like there's been a few, like Rodgers,
Trevor
I feel
Lawrence
like
did it
does
once or
it.
twice.
Yeah, and I feel like Rodgers does it every once in a while where he will fake going down and then get really upset when he actually gets tackled and gets the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
that's
It was pretty smooth though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely smooth. He's lucky he didn't like tear his ACL trying
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
stop. He's like running full speed and trying to
He is
bend a
pretty
knee
quick,
like
though.
that.
He was
Yeah.
moving after that.
Okay, so next game, the what are they? The American. That's right. Or Conference
AAC?
USA. Which one are they?
American.
American,
Athletic
okay.
Conference.
Houston, Cincinnati was closer to begin with, and then it just kind of Houston shot themselves in the foot a couple of times, and then it was just kind of Cincy's
Yeah.
took advantage of the turnovers, and then it kind of just snowballed from there.
Yeah, I took the only thing I have on this. I took the Cougs because I thought the Momo was gonna be too big for Cincy, but nah, it was sure as shit wasn't. So
I thought they'd cover.
yeah, I 10 was a lot of 10 and a half. I think it's a lot.
Yeah, it's like garbage time or like
yeah,
last minute. Yeah, you'd think they'd cover that.
See, but one thing here is like what I will argue now is I think if the committee and I know we're probably going to get expanded playoff. I know I think I saw something that said they wanted to do it by 2024, and that's looking shaky. I didn't see why. But if you're going to allow some of these group of 5 conference champions now to make the playoff, they have to play their championship at a neutral site. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's horrible that Houston had to go to Cincy to, again, like if you're a smaller, another one like Appalachian State having to go, the Mountain West having to go to Louisiana Lafayette, like, okay, like
Especially
you're
with a
not
year
really,
like that, and they're in the top 4 already. Like,
right.
if they're unranked or if they're 23,
Yeah.
like that's a different story. But when you're in the top, when you're ranked 4th,
That
you
should
know
be like,
they're showing up.
yeah, that should be like a rule. If you as a conference decide, do I want a chance at the playoff? Yes, then you have to find a neutral site stadium to play at, because if that's at a neutral site, I think some of those issues that Houston had really playing a road game might not have happened, or it might not have like snowballed like it did.
You think it'd probably be a boon for the team too, because you can get, or for the schools, because you could probably get sponsors for those neutral site games and stuff like that too. And yeah, if it's at a neutral site, then you can pick a bigger place and pack the house a little bit. So
Right,
I mean, but you just have to, I can see like for Cincinnati and Houston this year, I think you get a lot of people to show up. Like Ohio and Texas people are big fans, but like with, not to say anything about App State and Louisiana Lafayette, but I think it'd be harder for them to travel to pack the stadium. But you get some people, like if I had a, neutral site championship near me, I would definitely consider going.
Well,
so
you know what the solution for that could potentially be, and some of those smaller cities like that. I guess not really small cities, but some of those smaller conference things, they have soccer stadiums. I mean, the Chargers literally played at where the Galaxy play.
Mhm.
So you can still have a nice professional
That's a
stadium.
good point.
That I know that like some of them are smaller, like 20,000, but I just feel like you could work it out.
Yeah.
You could
plenty
find
of
some sort
options.
of middle ground between maybe a full professional stadium and your college stadium. You can find, go play at a different college. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's, especially in that case, like I think that's a unfair advantage that that none of the other conference champions got. So but okay, next one, Big Ten, Michigan, Iowa. I feel like Mike and I definitely felt pretty comfortable about a blowout. Joe, again, you're close to it, so you don't want to get your hopes up. I mean, it was close.
I thought they were going to win.
early.
I just didn't know by how much.
Yeah, obviously, it went
I
just
didn't
exactly I was thought.
I don't know if you guys bet this, but I waited. I didn't want to take the
Hand up.
I didn't want to take it
game
early.
I won on.
Yeah, I waited. I got it at 9.5. I think it started at like 12.
I think
10,
I got
10 and a half.
Yeah.
Did you?
I think I got it.
So I wanted to get it under 10, just touchdown field goal. I wanted to get it under that. So I did. Didn't really matter, but I went big. I put $100 on it. So
that was the ultimate, maybe not the ultimate sad fans are sad game, but like the look of defeat on Iowa fans. Oh my God. Like they just knew early, like we're in for a bad time here.
yeah, they did post. I don't know who posted it, but they're like, it was after like the first touchdown or two. Some of the fans were just had their hands in their face and just not feeling it.
It's just one of those.
Not a good time.
No, it's just one of those things where the defense, Iowa's defense can only play so well for so long until the Iowa offense just breaks their back, and that's what
we've been saying this
right?
every week. Exactly what you're getting. No offense, good defense, but not good enough to carry a whole team.
No,
you have to be elite, and especially like
it'll work against the Rutgers or maybe the Marylands, but
right.
Not any. I don't think anyone better than that, really.
If you're on the field for like 3/4 of the game, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like you're gonna break. And then against a team like Michigan that just wants to physically punish you, like you get to a point where you're done getting hit, knowing that your offense is just gonna punt it in 3 plays.
Did you guys watch this whole game?
No.
Did you guys see it was a backwards pass to Donovan Edwards, the 5-star running back. Then he chucks it up to Sanistroll or someone. So we've got a running back throwing a touchdown, but then also JJ McCarthy came in later, threw a bomb. Or no, sorry, he threw like a screen or handed it off, but he hauled his ass up there like 50 yards.
Oh,
it was
I
like
did
a
see that.
70-yard run.
Yeah,
tries to block 2 different players. He didn't get a good hit on him, but he got enough, and he was faster than Blake Corum. Like he was moving. So that's gonna be fun to watch. I mean, he played well.
Yeah, dude.
In the limited snaps that he had, but
it's gonna be fun to watch those 10 plays a game next year too, right?
We'll see. Hey, all it takes is one injury, and I said this about Kenny Walker.
Yeah,
one injury. I'm glad we have him there, both of them in place, because if someone gets hurt, I don't.
Cade better watch out. All of a sudden, McCarthy's gonna be,
it's like Mighty Ducks when he's feeding them cupcakes and stuff.
Yeah, he's gonna be putting divots in the ground and stuff. To
spring ball, that's where you make your case. So
sure.
Who knows what could happen?
Yeah. I guess we'll see. And then the last game, Pitt Wake Forest. Didn't watch it. Wasn't comfortable with Pitt because the games that it's just ever since Narduzzi's been there, it's almost guaranteed that they'll win the games they're not supposed to, and then they'll, even in a great year like they did this year. I mean, they lost to Western and they lost to, who was the other loss? It was another terrible loss. I can't remember who it was, like Syracuse or something.
No.
NC State,
Western Michigan, and NC State.
It's just like you can't. I paying attention more because my in-laws, I just couldn't trust them. I could trust the over, which hit.
Are they traveling?
Oh,
well, I guess you already talked about this, but I know Mike mentioned before that there's a lot of big Pitt fans. So I didn't know if a lot of people were traveling for this game.
Yinzers.
It was, dude. I watched the game. It was It was a blast, man. It was just so fun. Like, you know,
Where was that
watching
one?
Pitt win a game where they should. I'm not sure where. Let me.
Charlotte.
First.
Yeah, Charlotte,
Bank,
that's right.
Whatever
Yeah.
the Panthers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was
Yeah,
fun. I had some friends there. They had a blast. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It was cool to see Pitt kick some ass, dude. And like I said, Kenny Pickett with the hezzy there, it was fantastic. I watched this one more than I watched. Actually, I was watching this one and I turned on Michigan and Iowa. I was like, yeesh. And I just whooped down back.
I will say one thing that happened today that'll be something to watch for Pitt is their offensive coordinator today resigned, kind of out of the blue. So this is the guy that's been with Pickett for the last 3 years and really has been the architect of this offense.
He's just done.
Yeah.
Or after this year.
No, like resigned immediately. No word. At least that was earlier today. I don't know if there's been any reports on why, but obviously that makes you turn your head there.
Yeah.
It's definitely either for
I
medical
didn't see
reasons
that.
or for other maybe potentially bad reasons. But yeah, Whipple, is that his name? Hipple. But yeah, something to look at. It'll be an interesting game because Pitt's pass defense is equally as bad, and Michigan State's offense can throw the ball pretty well.
It's gonna be
So
exciting, baby.
whatever that over under is, I have a feeling that it's high. I think Pitt's favored by 4 to begin with.
I'm gonna go to the sports book and watch that one.
It'll
MGM?
should be fun.
Oh no. Live in my hometown, baby.
The old Latrobe one.
Mm-hmm.
The Arnie Palmy one. Gotcha.
Arnie Palmy alert.
Okay, so why don't we, now that the I wasn't sure whether the playoff was going to, I forgot that they had the show on Sunday and typically the rankings come out on Tuesday throughout the year, but we can touch on this. So they gave Alabama the 1 seed and playing Cincinnati the 4, and then they gave Michigan the 2, right? And then
Yep.
Georgia
They just
the
stayed
3.
at 2.
So do you guys have any problems with that? With how they ordered these teams?
No.
I don't have a problem. I mean, there's a case to be made for Michigan to bump to 1, but I think Alabama and Michigan are very close. I mean, Alabama lost to A&M. I don't know what they were ranked at the time. Do you, Mike?
Unranked, I think. Yeah.
And then Michigan lost to Michigan State. I think they were 7, 9, something like that.
Yeah, top.
And then
think
Michigan
they-
beat Ohio State, who was number 2, and they were 5. And then Alabama just beat number 1. So, I mean, I would say they're like neck and neck. Like, I think Alabama's going to get it every time just based on their success over the last 20 years.
I think that they didn't want to do
Georgia.
Alabama at 2 because then you have Alabama and Georgia automatically.
Yeah, I
Hell
don't like
had to-
that.
Hell had to freeze over for them to put them back to back. You're right. I do think this is fair just because of where Georgia has been seen as. So beating them in general, especially the last game of the year before this, I think was always going to, and Alabama was already
And the
3.
way in which they beat them.
Right,
Had
they
it
beat them
been
soundly.
close, had it been a close game, I think even though the committee might not have wanted to do Alabama, Georgia, it would make more sense because the way in which Michigan won was so convincing and the way in which they beat Ohio State was so convincing that it's like, okay, they have, but Alabama just kicked the crap out of Georgia. And if that wasn't the case, then I think that I would be sitting here saying, okay, even though you don't want to do that game back to back, you kind of have to because Michigan has looked like the better team. Given that Alabama beat Georgia so convincingly, that's where I think that the committee can be like, okay, you know, you beat the number 1 team, you kick the crap out of them, you're the number 1 seed.
I also think like the committee then might have snaked Cincinnati to 3. I really think they would have tried everything in their power.
Oh, and drop Georgia to 4?
Yeah, I think they would have tried everything in their power to avoid them just playing again in the semifinal.
but then you
Well, the build-up's just
no,
better.
because
yeah,
it's
right.
like, what are you gonna do then? Because if it's a close game, you drop Georgia by three spots. That wouldn't make any sense either.
No. So I have a deeper question. Do we think Georgia was overranked to begin with going into this week?
Now,
I mean, they won
with
other
the-
games,
yeah,
sure, but look
with
who
what
they've
EJ
played.
just said, yeah. Given that Clemson has stunk it up this year,
Yeah, Clemson.
given what EJ just said, that actually makes more sense. If you did Alabama, Cincinnati as 2-3, and
Michigan 1, Georgia 4.
is 1-4. I guess it doesn't matter because it's
No.
still going to be the same matchup, but like,
Yeah, it doesn't. I wonder if they considered that, but yeah, I'm just looking at Georgia's schedule at this point. And I think everyone's just considered them every week after week. They've considered them kind of the bar. But I'm looking, who have they beat? They beat Auburn, Kentucky, all decent teams, but not Alabama.
It's just the SEC bias.
Yeah.
This is one of the best examples of
Tennessee,
it where it's just
Mizzou,
assumed that
Florida.
the league of SEC is better. Their medium, their middle to lower tier teams are better than another conferences, which you can make that argument, but I feel like that takes into account that situation because you're right. Like Auburn is now not ranked and has 3 or 4 losses, and Florida is not ranked and has 6 losses, and you know what I mean. So
yeah,
but they're the SEC, so the question would be, would a 6-loss Big Ten school be a 6-loss SEC school? And I think 90% of people would say no. Might not be the case. They don't play those games. I wish they would.
Well, now we get to see it in bowl season, right? Because that's where it all comes out in the wash. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, every SEC team except for Vanderbilt is bowl eligible. Let me check on that.
But what you could make an argument for is obviously they cannibalize each other. Every conference does.
Florida 6, everyone's 6 and 6 or better except for Vandy.
The difference is what you could probably look to is, do other teams like the Big Ten, the ACC, the Pac-12, do they play better non-conference games, the middle of that conference, which will bump them out of bowl? Like if they're the same in the conference, right? They cannibalize each other in the conferences, but then, the bad SEC schools don't play anyone good to begin, non-conference, then that kind of boosts them because they think their conference is so tough, right? Well, it's one of those weird things. Like you could make an argument all day.
Yeah. And that's what we'll see. We'll see it in bowl season because you're going to have all those teams out there. And, if they get waxed, that's like, well, kind of fudged up on this one. And we're also going to see, because now Michigan is going to go against the top, if they beat Georgia and then they get Alabama, most likely. I mean, unless anyone here thinks that the Bearcats have a chance.
I just think college football is long overdue, and hopefully an expanded playoff will change incentives, but they're long overdue from having like an ACC Big Ten challenge like they do in basketball. Like long overdue of actually like forcibly scheduling
getting creative
a non-conference Power 5 team each year, so that you can have, like, in basketball, it's very easy to know which conference is better because almost all of them have this kind of crossover where you can say, listen, Big Ten won 10 out of 15.
Yeah. The problem is basketball is not the contact sport that football is. You can't add 3 more games because then you're going to have health issues and all that. Are you saying take away a Big Ten game or 2 and substitute?
No, I would just say, so if you have your conference schedule and then you always have 3 non-conference, make one of those non-conference games a Power 5, like rotation, like come up with, and I think that's what the Alliance is going to do. Yeah. But that doesn't include
you're still going to have kind of, some teams are going to get the better. Some are going to get Alabama. Some are like I'm thinking Big Ten teams here. Some are going to get Alabama and some are going to get Vanderbilt. And then you're still going to have this discrepancy of like, oh, they played Alabama, but they, it's not going to be even no matter what. Everyone's not playing the same teams. There's always going to be issues. But I see what you're saying.
I would assume that they do this in basketball. They never put like Michigan or Michigan State against the bottom of the ACC, right? They always play pretty comparable teams.
But that's what I'm saying.
So Illinois, so it's Illinois Vanderbilt then, right?
Yeah. So what if Rutgers goes nuts? They go ham and they have a great season, and then they can't defend themselves because they're not getting that opportunity. That's what I'm saying. Like,
you also have
never going to have
an
equal
basketball tournament that is more
1,000 teams.
Yeah. You have I'm not teams.
No, I'm talking about the challenges. So you have the Big Ten, ACC. You have the Pac-12 does one with another conference.
But you can schedule those games because at the end, it's not going to impact you and keep you out of the tournament.
Yeah.
Given the way the tournament is now, it would impact those teams. Now, if you expand the tournament to like 8 teams or 16 teams,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what
they're gonna
then
have
that's
to.
more logical. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think that just needs to happen. Like, I think it's long overdue where I'm not saying that like seeds 5 through 8 are going to make a big fight and win the college playoff. But I just think there needs to be more incentive for teams to be okay losing 2 games and still make the playoff, like still have a chance. Right now, you don't have a chance unless you're Alabama or the other SEC West team that year, right? Like, I think it's just be better for college football in general if they incentivize these schools, because then you're going to have schools and coaches that want the challenge at the beginning of the year, right? Like, shit, I want to play, say Kentucky, because to better prepare myself, Michigan State say, to play a Penn State and a Michigan later on in the year versus playing
I would even
Eastern.
consider doing it at the beginning of the year and towards like not the end, but like the middle of the year, because then like you have like interrupt the meat of your conference schedule to go do this, and it is definitely more competitive. Like, you have to be up more, because like, okay, I might have to go, if you're Michigan State or Michigan, for example, instead of playing like, Rutgers the week before your game, you have to go play Texas A&M, right? So you got to be up at a higher level more.
Yeah.
I think that end of the season would be tougher because, you have so many like rivalry, rivalry week is a huge thing. So
also you don't want to, you don't want to risk injury, for games like that if you don't have to.
You can injure yourself
tough.
playing a shitty team.
Well, you can, but like chances are if you're playing someone and go up 30, your best players aren't going to be out there. Could get hurt.
I think if they promised schools that if there was enough of a playoff, like enough spots where it's like you win your conference, you're in, it doesn't matter how many losses you have.
That's what it is. It has to be
if
you win your conference, you're in.
I think then you will I think you're still going to have the cowards.
What does Notre Dame
coward programs? They have to join a conference. That's incentive for them to join the ACC. That's
not Brian Kelly.
I just think
or his family.
Right. I think that would just be better. You'd have.
I haven't even won all my games yet. I do declare.
You'd have coaching, like you'd have coaches that want the challenge and would embrace it like they do in basketball. You'd still have the coward schools that don't schedule anyone, but then that could hurt them because you're going to have these other schools that have played, good non-conference games.
We did this.
And it builds your strength of schedule. It just helps you in general. Like Michigan State, you play Oklahoma to begin the year. You know where you're measured at, right? You have a good measuring stick to figure things out before.
Yeah, but that game you could sneak by because they're probably gonna have like a Rattler playing.
Hey, I'm just saying it would be. You're still playing better competition than you would if you're playing Western and playing Jacksonville State. Like I think there would be a good amount of good coaches that would schedule these good, and some of these schools do it now, but like if it's actually a forced or kind of a rotating schedule of home and aways with some of these equal power 5 schools, I think it would just be better all around. But without an expansion of the playoff, it's never going to happen. So
I think we'll get there. I mean, it has to eventually. I feel like how long do we have to bitch about the BCS before we got the playoff? So
yeah, it'll be good. I mean, I get the argument where you're again like the next 5 schools, if you look at it this year, probably aren't cream of the crop like the first 4, but I think it's still just the idea of incentivizing better games throughout the year, because you don't feel pressured to only lose a game or no games, right? You feel comfortable playing some of these better schools throughout the year and without being penalized.
Yeah, I mean, look at the top 10, top 25. There's no undefeated team ananymore. So everyone's usually going to lose a game. So
yeah, while I think these
like recognize that.
Well, Cincinnati's undefeated.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you did, like, I think this year, even if you had the 1 through 8 and you all played, I feel like you get some really fun matchups. Now, again, some of those lower seeds probably don't make the semifinal maybe, or don't make the final, but I still think some of those playoff games would be fun between Oklahoma State and Notre Dame and Michigan State and Pittsburgh, right?
Give them a chance. Yeah.
Those are going to be great games that are fun to watch. And then give them, like you said,
you're going to make a lot of money too.
Right. I think that's the other thing is the bowl situation, right? Like that's a tough thing because they
You
have
can
this,
get people to sponsor stuff.
yeah, you have this bowl system and
Barstool's
it's
gonna
hard
have
for them to
Creed
break
at
it.
at theirs. Like,
Yeah. No, just
anything's
Scott
possible.
Stapp. Just
sorry,
Scott Stapp.
sorry, Creed, you're not invited.
Not Creed. Just Scott Stapp, the lead singer of Creed.
So what is he allowed to sing? Everything? Nothing?
Probably everything, I guess.
He can probably sing it, he just can't use their name.
Well, whose
I
name?
know that Creed, like
You can't use it
the
either.
band's- the band's name. But okay, guys, do you want to give like predictions for these semifinal
I'll give
games?
thoughts. I'm not giving a prediction.
Okay, so what do you guys think about Alabama Cincy? Quick.
I think Alabama's gonna roll them.
Yeah, what's the spread? Is there an early spread
14.
already? 14. Jesus. Okay. Hammer the hell out of that.
Yeah.
14 in the first 10 minutes.
But you're saying
Yeah.
take Cincy?
Yeah.
Take the points?
Yeah. No, you're gonna give those points all day. Yeah, they're gonna get murdered. Michigan, Georgia.
Where
what do
that
you guys
one's
think?
where was the first one at? Like where
Cotton
like,
Bowl, Dallas, I think.
is it?
Yeah.
Jerry
Oh,
World
I'm
always
sorry.
gets it.
13 and a half now. Money has come
Take
in
it.
on the Bearcats.
Yeah.
Okay, put an extra 20.
Yeah.
Right. Michigan, Georgia, and Miami. What do you guys
that
think?
one's I think it's 9 now.
Seven
it was
and a
7.5.
half.
I thought I
Seven
heard
and
it
a
went
half.
up today to 9.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Well, if that's the case, I'm taking Michigan.
Yeah, I like that. Like, I mean, I want them to win. I really think it's gonna be closer than everyone's giving Georgia credit, but they just didn't look good against Alabama. I don't know if that was to Alabama's credit or to Georgia's discredit or both.
Got me swinging, dude. I have no
But
idea.
I think Michigan has a pretty good chance at least. So
My
take the
thoughts
points.
are Alabama very intentionally took Georgia's strength, which is their front seven, out of the
Mhm.
game by not even running the ball. Like they just basically said, not going to do it. Like they did it occasionally, but like really the game plan was just throw the ball. So if you're Michigan, while they've proven they can throw the ball, the question is, are they willing to throw the ball more than they're willing to run it to win the matchup, right? And because I don't know with that front seven, I just don't know if running it at them is the way to go.
Well, I think Michigan can and will throw the ball enough to open it up so that they can run, and then they will start running and pounding it. Or if they get up, they're just going to pound it, and then they'll throw a pass here and there. I mean, look at Iowa. That second touchdown, they pitched it and they tossed it to Donovan Edwards, and he threw a 70-yard touchdown. I mean, they can get creative if they want to, but I think they can pass if they really need to.
I will say too that like Georgia has a strong front seven,
Mhm.
but the way the Michigan offensive line imposed their will against Ohio State, if they do that again against Georgia, like I know it's a different level of I think that Georgia has a better front seven than Ohio State for sure.
I think
But
Well, it'll be a good test.
They really, I mean, they looked really, really good. I get that it was at home. I get that it was a Ohio State rivalry game, but like, I mean, oh, buddy, that was those are some men out there just imposing their will.
So
Doing
two
whatever the
things
hell they
for me.
want.
The line is 8.5 now, at least on FanDuel, from plus 8.5 for Michigan. And as a Michigan fan, I love that they've already exceeded my expectations. They won the Big Ten. They beat Ohio State. I think from my perspective, I love that they're playing Georgia, who's been one all year, and then Alabama. Beat the best to be the best. I love it.
Jesse, well, no, Ric Flair said, if you want to be the best, you got to be the best. Not,
And who is
Not
Ric
Ventura.
Flair a fan of?
it's true. He is a Wolverine fan.
Yeah,
I mean-
I don't think it'll be a blowout. I don't. I think Michigan's gonna have to come out of their comfort zone a little bit to get past. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but especially after losing to Alabama like that, like they're gonna be angry. And
Yeah.
when you have 3 defensive linemen and a linebacker that are all gonna be top 20 picks this year.
So you're doubting Cade?
No, I think I'm doubting Harbaugh's like willingness to throw the ball more and eliminate those guys. Like I think that's what you have to do. I think Michigan has the players. I
So-
think Cade's shown that he can do it, but I
Also,
think they're going to
Kirby-
have to throw it outside against
Also,
that secondary.
Kirby
I don't think
Smart,
running it up the middle.
Kirby
is-
Smart has an entire month to plan for this game.
True.
And Kirby Smart is quite the defensive mind. So again, I think that Michigan has the tools to do it. Like, I think they have the horses to get it done. I think that line's insane. I think that's way too high.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So
I think that line's too high.
Yeah. And
I think Michigan's balanced enough. I mean, they have 3 running backs that can easily go for 100, and their wide receiver core is where I really thought they were going to struggle this year because Ronnie Bell went out game 1, 2.
Yeah, early.
Our best receiver. So I think they've honestly really picked it up between. I mean, we've got Sanistril. What's his name? The kid that had 100 yards on
Anthony.
Yes, Angelo Anthony. Eric All, like the tight ends.
You guys have it.
They've got the pieces. I think it just depends on how they use them. So we'll see.
I think this is a game where whatever team gets up, that goes to their advantage, right? I think Michigan's defense is good enough to cause Georgia problems. And if Michigan gets up, I think that plays to that advantage of letting those 2 pass rushers just go ham, right? But if they get down, it'll be interesting to see, because then it's the flip side, right? Then Georgia's dogs can go at you. So
I think Georgia has the better
can
defense,
get up first,
but Michigan has the better offense. So it's kind of like who's gonna break.
I think,
or who's weaker side of the ball is gonna break or be.
I think Alabama showed, and I think they talked about during the broadcast, it was just like the secondary of Georgia hadn't been tested, and it wasn't any good. And it's, again, like, it's because Alabama deliberately said, there's no way we're not running Brian Robinson up the middle. It's not happening. We're going to throw it to the outsides. And if those corners make plays, they make plays. And I think that's, if Michigan wants to win, they at least have to do that more than they typically like to do early, right? Like, maybe they have to spread them out to run the ball better. I just think
there's also been a lot of talk about Gaddis showing through the latter half of the season rather than Harbaugh, where Harbaugh's been run.
Right.
And Gaddis seems to have his fingerprints on it more. So hopefully that's,
I don't know, man. I just want to see some hogs go at it, dude. Just put your dick on the
You love the
table.
big boys.
I do. I think it's going to be a great matchup. Georgia's front 7 against Michigan's offensive line, like what I saw from that Ohio State game, dude. I just want to see just the hogs just getting down and dirty. Just put your dick on the table. Who's the bigger man? I think that's what, I mean, if Jim Harbaugh is the one calling the plays, I think that's what he's going to go for. I know that's what Kirby Smart's going to go for. So, just who's the bigger man? It's time to nut up or shut up, and I think that is going to be that's going to be the story of the game. It's going to be won and lost between Michigan's offensive line and the Georgia front 7. Now, having said that, it'll probably won just the complete opposite. Like, that's probably how it'll go, because that's the way these things go. So I love it.
I think both will be great games.
Yeah. No, I don't think Alabama, since he's going to be.
Oh, great for Mike.
Oh,
yeah. Good for me. Although losing Robert Mechie for the year is going to be tough.
I saw that.
It's going to be tough.
Doesn't matter. They're just going to throw it to Williams 70 times. Like,
if he's not ejected.
That's true.
Or maybe he doesn't even want to play. He has the pros to look forward to. He has a stock to worry about. He can't really get hurt in this meaningless game for him.
Thibodeau went to declared for the draft.
Yeah,
he's done.
Yeah, why would you? If I'm him, I wouldn't play in that bowl game either.
Yeah,
I'd take that business decision. There's
Who are they playing?
I have no idea.
And they don't even have a coach.
Nope.
Yeah, I'd be out.
Yeah, I wouldn't play.
Okay,
Oklahoma,
so we have in the Alamo Bowl.
In the Alamo Bowl. Oh, well, Oklahoma with Venable. Is he going to coach in that game?
I thought.
So that's a question. Can you coach if you're
just tired?
Then if you're just tired?
I would assume so. Why not?
Why would you though? You have to install your program? You're taking someone else's playbook. I don't think that works.
I mean, someone's got to do it, but I think it would make more sense for an OC or DC to do it.
This has to have happened before. How do we not know what happens here?
What I would say though is Venable can't just wait. I mean, in Oklahoma waited a little too long anyway. Not really their fault, but they've lost a lot of kids in the transfer portal
Sure,
already.
yeah.
And I think I don't know when you can back out, like you can say JK. There is a deadline for that, but if you're Venables, I don't even know if it's important to win the game. It's important just to get there and like talk to these kids and keep these
Show
kids.
face, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
I
even if
guarantee
you-
he's there working, but
Yeah,
I don't know if
but
he's
actually
gonna coach,
coaching,
though.
I would coach that game. I would just still have the game plan, the two coordinators or whatever it is, right? You can still game manage
I
without.
just feel like, have we seen this situation in the past? Where
I'm
It
sure,
has,
it's
Achilles-
had to have
something-
happened.
just not paid attention.
Well, pay attention this year because we're gonna have to talk about it next year. So pay attention.
Well, I mean, Marcus Freeman, I mean, that's a little different because he's already on staff. But
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, no, I'm saying this situation where someone on staff, obviously they take over, right? But like this situation
new
where a
guy.
new coach comes in.
well, did LSU qualify? I mean, I
Is
feel
Brian
like
Kelly coaching?
USC qualified, right? I'm pretty sure they qualified.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So there's all
So
these
it's-
coaches that have moved. I think in theory,
Because
went to-
because
a lot
Coach
of them
O
went
said
to
he's
bowl
not
teams.
coaching it, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, that was Coach O's swan
Maybe
song.
maybe we should apply.
the
I'll coach the bowl game.
I'll coach.
One
Yeah,
day
I know.
contract.
Like USC, I'm pretty sure a lot of these programs actually have to like they have bowl games. They have to.
USC doesn't.
Coach.
They don't have 6 wins.
Who's in the
Really?
Bourbon Bowl this year?
No, they're 4-5.
Oh.
The SCLSU Mud Dogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're taking on Louisiana. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Do you know who's coaching?
Yeah, Red Bow U is coaching for the for Louisiana, and then I'm pretty sure the SCLSU. I think that their head coach should not get fired. Rocky year. Rocky.
I thought they were
first-
playing South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Oh, they might be. They
I
might.
think they
be.
made it this year.
Yeah, the shitheads.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. I'm gonna watch that movie Thursday night. I don't have to work. on
Accepted.
Friday, so yeah, it's so
Or
Oh, no, I'm
or
not.
Waterboy.
I was to say you're gonna
Oh.
watch it instead of watching the Steelers lose again.
lose
Did you know
again,
that-
baby. We listen. We won a game. If we win next
So did
week,
we.
that's 2 in a row. If we
Same.
win another one, that's called a winning streak.
Yes.
It has
What?
happened before.
do you
That's
know
not
what
a
that-
thing.
Oh, do you know what that means though? That means a full year of Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I know. I actually we
guess
beat the
what?
Ravens at home. I'm ready to lose every other game. I
'Cause-
am so ready to lose.
Because you
every
have
other game.
what happened the last time Mason Rudolph played an entire season. You still won too many games.
Miles Garrett
Okay, I'm
killed
gonna
him.
go piss. I'm out of here. This is I'm done.
All right. So
Sweating
betting-
his horse shit.
last one. We had a new better here that gave us his bets. Jeremy, which just happens to also be Joe's little brother.
And your cousin.
And my cousin as well. He took the over in the Appalachian State and Raging Cajun game, and he took the under in the Oregon Utah. He parlayed those
Yeah,
together
nice
and
little
won.
parlay for him.
And then he did a second
Jeremy.
parlay. Yes.
Go,
With
babe.
the Road Runners. He took the Road Runners and
Meep,
the
meep.
points, and he took Utah and gave the points in another parlay that he also won.
Yeah, I don't know how much he
We're in
made on
trouble.
those. I think I
Joe,
sent
we-
it to
we-
you.
Joe, we
Yeah,
gotta
I think
talk
it
to
was
your
like a
brother.
solid 40 on both. I think he bet
he?
25 on each.
Yeah, he
Joe,
said
I
it.
gotta talk to your brother because I would have never made those bets. So I got.
I think he said something about that one, putting him in the in the green. So maybe you don't want to talk to him, but
Yeah.
Well, he's getting hot.
yeah,
He's on wing
now's the
streak.
time. And his birthday's coming up. So by the time this comes out, his birthday. Let's see, when this coming out? Thursday. His birthday will be Friday. So happy early birthday to him.
Happy early
Yes.
birthday.
Happy early birthday.
And keep an eye on your mail. You might have something coming your way.
Oh. And we can also say that there's another person that's born 2 days later than him, technically a few years before, but Joe's birthday is also next weekend. So
Big
another
2-4.
happy early birthday for this Papa
Thank
too.
you.
So yes, and you should be looking for something if I don't see you, because I have something for you. Little birthday gift.
You're gonna mail it to me.
I don't know. I hope we
We
can
live
see
10
you.
minutes away from me.
Yeah, well, you know, we have to see if we can make some time to see each other. Okay, Mike, you can go pee pee.
All right.
Just tell us.
All right.
Take a little tinkle.
But you hurry up because we're getting to the preview here. Let's go.
All right, I'll hurry
Quick,
up.
fast.
What should we talk about, Mike?
Well, we can start this little preview without him. So let's talk about the trophy here. It's our final trophy in season 1. So we've gotten through all of the Big Ten rivalry trophies. So today we're talking about the Governor's Victory Bell, and that is played between the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Penn State Nittany Lions. So let me hit you guys with some fun facts here. So the first one, this is the last trophy. Said it. It's sad. I think it's been a great run here of trophies. This is also the second trophy that Penn State plays for, and that's in addition to the land grant trophy, which we had talked about a couple of weeks ago. And the reason why we are having this episode so late in the season is because this game was not played this year. The last time it was played was in 2019, and they are scheduled to play next year, which is exciting because both these teams I feel like are pretty equal. So these matchups are usually pretty good matchups.
We're gonna have a PJ Fleck, James Franklin. We know that's gonna be the case. Both just signed big extensions, so
yes,
I think it'll be a good matchup coming up. I think Minnesota's definitely showing some promise, and I think Penn State is always decent, but
they just always have the horses. Penn State,
yeah,
always
especially
has good recruiting
next year they're supposed to have the best class, right?
It was early. I don't know now. I think a couple of 5-stars have found their homes.
It's gonna happen, but
they're gonna be
sure
a
it's
top
still a
10.
solid recruiting class.
Yeah, it's definitely still top. Probably at least definitely top 3 in the Big
5.
Ten. It might be top 2 in the Big Ten behind Ohio State. Not sure. The stuff's still fluid, but still should be a really great matchup next year. They should probably play more often. But what are you guys' first impressions here of this this trophy? Tried to give you guys a couple of pictures.
I like the zoom in on Goldie. That's nice.
Yeah, I did that.
I appreciate that. Thanks, pal. Well, let's see, folks. Oh, it's a big boy. Oh, it's a big fella. It's
3 or 4 feet tall.
How do we even explain this?
What's the shape at the top?
So there's a big trapezoid at the top that says Governor's Victory Bell, presented annually to the winner of the Penn State Minnesota football game, established
September 4,
1983,
93.
I tell you what, it definitely has some 93 vibes because it's just nice
just,
big wooden base.
And and it's just like that, like brown ass wood.
Yeah,
like, there's no stain, there's no
brown ass wood,
anything to it.
It's just brown ass wood. Yeah, nice chestnut. Nice chestnut.
Very 90s.
And a nice big old bell that says Big Ten Conference on it. Not with the updated logo though. So
they're slacking.
Yeah, they are a little bit there. But the bell doesn't like really sway back and forth. It looks like it's like a
solid
cowbell. Yeah, like cowbell. It's that is a sizable trophy. I love the size of it.
Yeah, it's got little plaques, little maybe 3, 6, 9, 12. What, 20 of them? I don't know. 21.
3
little
times 6
plaques.
is 18.
Is it 6?
18
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
plaques.
6, yeah. So that's got little plaques. I'm guessing that says that the winner did score, something like that.
Yep.
At the bottom
has 2 logos. There are 2 logos right above that. The school logos and little circular pieces there.
Medallion looking.
Bronze,
I gotta say, Goldie back in the 90s looks like, I don't know if Goldie still is this way, but looks like he has like a squirrel tail. Did Gophers have a tail that big? I thought Gophers had a tiny tail as opposed to that big ass squirrel tail.
I think he does still. The mascot still has that tail.
I don't think I like that.
I don't know if that's why don't you tweet at him?
I'm gonna look at pictures of Gophers. Because whenever I think of Gophers, no. The Caddyshack Gopher did not have a big tail like that.
You're referencing a movie?
What?
You're referencing
with a gopher?
A movie
with
gopher?
dude. Gophers. Oh, okay. You know what they do? They do.
But they don't have those stupid sweaters.
Hey, No one. I appreciate the hell out of a good crew neck.
Wait,
I'll tell you that right now.
Hold on.
The
One of the
Gophers up in
photos,
Minneapolis. Give them a
one
break.
of
It's
the
cold.
one of the photos, the second to last one has a football on top, and the other ones don't. Or is that an
Oh
addition?
no. That's another trophy in the background, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they're in like a trophy room
That
or
is
something.
deceiving. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Is that the which trophy's that? That has to be another one of our trophies.
Kind of looks like a
right?
Super Bowl ball, like on top of
Yeah.
a trophy.
Would that have been no? Because they have Floyd. They're not the heroes. I'm not sure what that one is.
I don't.
It could
think
be a
I've
different sport trophy.
With a
I believe
football on
the,
top.
yeah, the
That's probably the hockey trophy. Yeah.
it could be. I'm not sure. I don't think they play. I think the Heroes Trophy was the only other one that had a football on it like that.
Yeah, they have Floyd
the
and they have the bits of
Freedom.
broken chair.
Yeah.
So we got a
that's it.
classic mystery here,
And
boys
Paul,
and girls.
Yeah, and Paul
Yeah.
Bunyan's ask. Paul Bunyan's ass.
Is there a new trophy this year?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
we
a
got
good
Paul
one.
Bunyan. We got his axe, and then we have his ass.
Yeah. Oh man.
The Midwest, they love Paul Bunyan. You know,
Just-
you just wait for it.
Folks, it brings a new meaning to getting them cheeks.
Yes.
This has got some Liberty Bell vibes with it, obviously, because it's a big bell. But I don't know. I don't think I'm a
folks,
big
join
fan
us
of it.
next week as we talk about the Getting Them Cheeks trophy presented between the winner of X Videos and Pornhub.
I still think that we should design our own trophy eventually and submit it.
I just did.
We'll
I just did.
Start mocking it up, and who's going to play for it?
The Barstool Sports Bowl.
It'll be Adriana Chechich and Angela White in the Getting Them Cheeks Bowl.
Okay.
I have no idea who those people are, for the record.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, sure you don't.
Okay, so
You
what
guys
I'm
really
going to tell you
not?
guys of the history of the rivalry.
I guess in some research.
So the first matchup between these two schools was in 1993, and Penn State won 38-20. And Penn State won the first four matchups between the two schools, but Minnesota won the next four after that. And the series overall is Penn State leads at 9 wins to 6 losses.
A lot of history here.
Lots of history.
A lot of history.
So this trophy was first introduced in 1993 when Penn State joined the Big Ten. So that was kind of the precipice of doing it. So before we talk about this trophy, for the last time in season 1,
Do you want us to tell you?
remind you guys what life was like in 1993.
Can I tell you what I think about when I think of 1993?
Sure.
So I think about a couple things. So that was when we moved into our new house and my sister was born in 93. And when she was born, the phone just would not stop ringing. It was people calling about my sister. You know, how are you? It's never about like the audacity of my aunts and uncles to call and like not ask about me first. They're asking about this new kid on the block. So I just put the phone in the refrigerator and just, you know, went about my day. So it took a good half day for people to figure out where the hell the phone went to.
And Mike was 14 at the time. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was a really hard time for him.
And when I think of 1993, I also, for some reason, I think of Pizza Hut. I think of like Pizza Hut, like when you go in and eat at Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
I think of like the
Red cups.
the red cups, the checkered tablecloths, the funky stained glass lamps.
Yep.
I think of the WWF video game, like the arcade machine. Maybe there was a Ninja Turtle machine next to it. And I think of actually going home and watching those Ninja Turtle movies, like the live action ones.
It was always so packed.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
like Friday, Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
She had the
Place to
buffet.
be. Mm-hmm.
You had the buffet, you had the
Yeah.
nice pan pizza.
The
And I
Jimmy
honestly,
buffet. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Pizza Hut. I probably haven't had it
Oh,
since
no,
I
now
was
it
like
sucks, but
6.
I'm surprised they're
went to
still open,
those.
to be honest.
Hey, they got like Craig Robinson, and they got like
Yeah.
boxes that have like, you know, it's like a filing cabinet, has
I
like
tell you
6
what,
different things.
I want, like, I see that commercial with the boxes with the filing cabinets, and I think I want to order that because, like, I definitely would like the cinnamon buns, but I know the pizza's gonna suck, and their breadsticks are god awful. Like they're just not good. They're just like
When was the last time you had Pizza Hut?
a couple years ago because I
Okay,
saw
so you haven't
this-
tried the new Detroit style.
No, I saw this box deal and I got it. And like, or maybe it wasn't this, maybe it was like the Big Dipper. It was the Big Dipper box. And I got the breadsticks too. And they're just like, I don't know how to explain a Pizza Hut breadstick because it's overcooked and undercooked at the same time. And it feels like they just put like too much oregano and rosemary on it. Like with no butter. Like if you make that buttery
Yeah,
and
they're
garlicky,
just dry.
yeah, it's dry as
Yeah.
hell. It's overcooked and undercooked at the same time. Don't know how that's possible. And it's gross. And their marinara sauce is gross. It's not sweet. It's just everything's too savory over there, except for the cinnamon rolls, which are perfect because Cinnabon makes Pizza Hut cinnamon rolls. So
I can honestly say I haven't had Pizza Hut since I've been a kid and gone to those, what we just described. Like we always had in Michigan, there's quite a few different national chains that are from there with your Domino's and Little Caesars, but we were always Little Caesars. And if we wanted Detroit style, we got Jets Pizza as like a Michigan chain also that, and then the occasional Hungry Howie's, which is one of my favorites. So
You know
Pizza
what was
Hut
also
just
good?
Never on the,
That Little Caesars that in Davison by you, they
Yeah.
had like an eat-in
they still do.
dining area. Yeah, with a buffet and everything. It was like a little like competition for Pizza Hut, really.
hey,
It's straight out of like the 70s.
Yeah.
And it's still there. It's a dine
It was
in
great,
Little
though.
Caesars.
is CC's Pizza still open?
They are.
Yeah.
There's one.
Are they?
There's actually one by us. I've never been, but I've seen it.
I remember one time we had a coupon in college and I got takeout from CC's because it was like
Oh, you don't do takeout because it's
Dude.
a buffet.
it was like 4 takeout pizzas for $5.
Huh.
So CC's was always for my high
College.
school football team.
Oh,
The offensive linemen, if you had like good games, a few pancakes or whatever, you would get treated by the offensive line.
Mike's kind of
coach.
game.
And as a receiver, you could still make that list if you had like a good block. And there was one game where I had a crack back block, which would be illegal now. I totally beheaded the kid. He was following the ball, and wasn't paying attention
Yeah,
to me.
been
And
there.
I cracked him. But that game, they did. After that, they invited me to it, but they didn't go to CC's. I got to go to like, I don't even know where we went to, like this like sub place. It's like the one time they didn't do CC's that year, that
Sons of-
season. I know.
Wow.
I felt cool though, I got to get with the
Yeah, you
hogs,
get to hang
I
out with
got
Big
the
to
boys.
hogs.
do
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But I
We
did
always
not
went
get
to Eden
CC's.
Park after film on Saturdays. That was
Oh,
that
those
was the
cookies,
move.
right?
Well, breakfast buffet, dude. You just go to town on the breakfast buffet.
Okay, well, since we've already reminisced a lot, let's get through what happened in '93 when we were all very, very old. So first thing here, I wish I would have done more research, but honestly, I didn't have a lot of time to go down this rabbit hole. But in 1993, $7.4 million was stolen from a Brinks armored car depot in Rochester, New York. And to this day, that is the 5th largest robbery in U.S. history.
I love that. I love good heists like that, dude. That's the best. Like the
Like in-
Latanza heist from Goodfellas. That just like, I love it.
And there were 4 suspects, all I believe were, I don't know if they were officials, but they were all from Northern Ireland. That was as far as my
Oh,
A little
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy action
yeah,
there.
there you
that
go.
was as far as I got in my research, but I thought that was pretty awesome that there was like, a heist. It's not that long ago, really, to have a heist.
Yeah,
Like you can't
I
imagine
love
that happening today.
I love that.
Next, Super Bowl 27. This was when the Buffalo Bills became the first team in NFL history to lose 3 consecutive Super Bowls as they were
Ooh.
defeated by the Dallas Cowboys 52-17.
Good thing they didn't lose a 4th.
Obviously, they would have hoped that stopped there. It unfortunately did not. They would go on to lose a 4th, but they set a record there that has not been broken since.
Records are
they
meant
got
to be
that going
broken.
for them. Yeah.
I mean, I can't. Would I have loved to see 4 Super Bowls, even if they were losses? I'm still probably going to
I
say
don't
yes
know,
as
man.
a Lions fan.
You should watch the 4 Falls. Of
I've
Buffalo,
watched it a
and-
few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Next, the Montreal Canadiens won their 24th Stanley Cup, defeating the Los Angeles Kings and that has to this day been the last time a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. It's been that long.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, it's always kind of like a
American.
they just always talk about it. I feel like when the Stanley Cup, they always kind of hint at it. Like, is this the year, especially with the Maple Leafs the last few years, is this the year that a Canadian team finally wins the cup again, seeing as they created the sport? But yeah, it's been since 93.
Not as bad as if you live on the east side of Pennsylvania, but
that is true. And then one of Joe's favorite movies that I believe is on his body came into theater in 1993. Jurassic Park.
Hold on. Oh,
sorry.
Hold on. Well, go ahead. Keep talking.
Jurassic Park was directed by Mr. Spielberg himself. Was released in theaters for the first time, starting the Jurassic Park.
Okay, Brian Kelly.
Park saga in 1993. And the last thing here, there's 3 famous TV shows that I'm sure some of us have either watched all 3 as a kid or at least watched one of them, but they made their debuts in 1993. And that is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, 1, Bill Nye, that science guy, 2, and one of my favorites growing up as a kid, Rocko's Modern Life, 3.
Oh, Rocco.
Those are the three big ones that debuted in 1993.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has got me. Well, them and the Turtles got me into karate. But here, I just want to. And that's about all we can do to not get copyright.
Yes.
I tell you what, John Williams, like that's the thing. Like, so just a quick like segue, like Spielberg in the 90s, man. Like, you know, has anyone had a better run than Spielberg in the 90s? And the John Williams like made like that's the big thing for me with Jurassic Park. It's like John Williams and his ability to make the music that really fits it. Because honestly, like someone else scores that movie, like is it as good, you know? So you can say that a lot about a lot of movies that John Williams has scored. But yeah, love that.
I mean, you got Jeff Goldblum in his prime. You had Newman from Seinfeld,
Wayne Knight,
Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, it was going to be hard to fail. That one was going to be tough to
and
fail.
Spielberg,
and Spielberg
Hitmaker in the 90s, dude. Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan.
There you go. And so why don't we get back to the history of this trophy? It's admittedly not a lot. So then acting governor of Pennsylvania, Mark Single, and the governor at the time of Minnesota, Arne Carlson. So they established the governor's victory bell on September 4th, like you guys had mentioned. And that was the date of the first Minnesota Penn State game. So that was what marked it. And that game was not only the first game between the two schools in school history, but it also was the first Big Ten game for Penn State as they entered into the Big Ten. So that's kind of those two together is why they decided to have a trophy. This is what Governor Single had to say about the game. As the Nittany Lions' initial conference opponent, Minnesota always will occupy a special place in Penn State football history, and we think it is appropriate to mark the occasion in this distinctive fashion. Governor Robert Casey was an early supporter of Penn State's move to the Big Ten Conference. I know he always looks forward to future conference games involving the Nittany Lions. So that was what he had to say. And then Governor Carlson of Minnesota had similar sentiment. And he said, the Big Ten athletics have been a tremendously positive experience in the life of our state. Minnesota's matchup against Penn State is a historic welcome to a school that will further enrich that experience for all of us. This trophy marks a very special occasion and will allow us to remember it for years to come. So both governors, very, very excited. It's the second trophy that we've talked about that was created by governors, the first being Floyd, that beautiful Floyd trophy that we've talked about a few weeks ago. So what happened was an artist came up with the idea and presented it to those two governors prior to kickoff of the 93 game, which Penn State won 38-20. And as you guys kind of talked about, the design has a brass bell, which bears the logo of the Big Ten Conference, which is suspended in a wooden frame. And at the top, it has the plaque that has the state seals of both states, has the inscription that talks about it being created or being played between the two schools and created on September 4th. And then at the bottom of the base, it has the two logos of the school's mascots, and then also has the individual brass plates that has the scores and the years of the two schools. So that's really it. The one thing, if you guys want to scroll down, that I did see, and it is talked about frequently, is this trophy does break a lot from the base when it is
more than once.
Yes, it is broken a few times. It is not as sturdy because it looks like just normal wood, and the bell is a pretty sizable bell, so it probably has some weight at the top half of it. So yeah, and has a tendency to
snap
break
right off from the base there, huh?
Yeah, they should just probably take the top half of that and be done with it. But
that'll be for much purpose there.
Yeah, but there you go. So that's all I have for you guys. So why don't we get to our final rankings for season 1 here? So we have we rank on a scale of 1 to 5 in looks, history, rivalry, and then overall which tier we put it in, bottom, middle, or top. So Joe, what do you got? What do you think?
Well, I don't want to be a downer here. Looks, going with a 1. It's got that 90s look, but not in a good way. It's that kind of.
May would say the same about me.
That wood, just that, I forget what you call it, chestnut wood look.
Yeah.
Not great. Reminds me of like a desk from the 90s. Not really much craftsmanship going into this either.
No.
It's just kind of like a bunch of wood they just fit. The bell doesn't even swing, it looks like.
Yeah. No.
Let's see, it breaks a lot. So I'm going 1 for looks.
It is big though.
It is big.
Yeah. History, also gonna go 1. It's not that old compared to any of these, really. It's from the 90s, so not a lot of history there. Not many. I mean, I wouldn't consider this a rivalry either, really. Getting to the next part, also a 1 for rivalry. The only reason there's a trophy is because it's the first Big Ten game of Penn State. So I don't know if I'd even call it a rivalry trophy. It's more of just a trophy to kind of honor that, because I don't think these teams really have a rivalry, do they? Like, I wouldn't even guess.
Not a lot of beef.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that you have to have a ton of beef for a rivalry, but I'm going 1. So bottom tier for me. Sorry, boys. One across the board and bottom tier.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
I'm going 2s across the board. I do like the size of it. It's a cool concept. It's just not executed well. History, like, actually, that history I'm going to do 1. It's just like, hey, welcome to the Big Ten. Here you go. And,
consolation.
Yeah, right.
It's like a gift bag.
Yeah. Now the rivalry I'm going to go 2 just because, and that has to do with kind of the teams right now, because I think they're both like decent programs. So I'm going to watch that game, but like, who really cares all that much? And a low tier for me overall. So
to your point, I think it will be not necessarily a big rivalry game, but I think the competition between these two will only get better.
Yes.
We mentioned, I think you were just coming back with PJ and Franklin signing those extensions. I think both teams are getting better and staying consistently good. So I think there'll be more competition, maybe not a rivalry, but good competition going forward.
Yeah. We'll see what it becomes.
And they don't even play every year too. So that also makes it tough.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was going to go so for looks, I have it a 2. The only reason it's not a 1 is because I think the bell is unique. It's not executed very well. The wood looks terrible.
Throw some stain on there, please.
Right. Yeah. So it's a 2 there. History is just a 1 because not only it's not, obviously it's very new. It's only been, the schools didn't even play each other until Penn State joined the Big Ten, but there isn't like much cool history behind why it was created, right? There's not something fun.
It's new. Like that. It's new, but it's not new enough to give an excuse for not changing things or not making it right. Because it's almost 30 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, so history for me, it's 30 years old, but I think the history of the rivalry itself, because they've only played 15 times, also doesn't help. And that's kind of the rivalry for me is then a 1.5.
It's not their fault either.
No, and that's the thing. Like the only thing keeping this from a 1 is because the games are competitive and the schools are pretty good, but they don't play each other every year. They play every I think 3 years, because they I don't think they were ever in the same side of the Big Ten. So, and that's not their fault. I think the games are competitive, obviously. The series is close, and both teams have won it recently when they've played, but they only play on average every 3 years. So it's just kind of hard to really get something going when that's the case. So this is a low tier for me.
I get the thought is there. I get the idea of creating a trophy to welcome them to the Big Ten, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of forced.
Right. It's like Penn State, Michigan State. That works because Penn State and Michigan State play each other on an annual basis. It was the last game of the year for most years throughout their since 93 when Penn State joined. So I think like that's the difference here for them. I think if it was maybe flipped where Minnesota was playing them, or even what about like feel better about it. But
what about like a Penn State, Ohio State? Geographically, they've probably the closest to them. Ohio State? I don't know.
Probably.
Rutgers might be closer.
Well, now.
Yeah.
And Maryland.
Maryland's probably it.
So low tier for me as well. Kind of sorry to end season 1 on the downer, but I didn't obviously.
Well,
no.
Just kidding. It's 5s, all 5s.
About that though, because is this the end of season 1? I don't know.
What
are you guys doing next week?
What I will say though is this is going to do it for us this week, but we really want to thank you guys all for listening and supporting. For these last 17 weeks, it's been really fun for us to do this. It's really the first time that we've done something like this. We're definitely learning as we go. And we've really appreciate all your support. So please still follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for something extra from us in the next couple weeks, because we might not quite be done with season 1 yet.
It's the last trophy, but is it the last hoorah? I think not, my friends.
Stay tuned. Follow our Instagram page. We're going to have some breadcrumbs here for these next couple weeks. So,
they're not from Pizza Hut.
And they're not from Pizza Hut. For Mike and Joe, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad. Too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.